All right. I'm not gonna wear the sunglasses. Do you like looking at yourselves? Let's see. Let's do it like this. Maybe, maybe not. Let's see. Hey, everybody. Frank, don't get any of this.
We recording this?
Yeah, we live. I'm just trying to get this bigger. Anybody matter? Okay.
I've been like paying for Zoom and not using it. I'm wondering if I should use the money I'm spending on Zoom to get this.
Restream?
To get the full version.
Yeah, I hear that.
Did you get the unlocked version?
Yeah, this is the unlocked version. Yeah, let's see. I got my water. All right. Right. All right, yo. Hello, we're rappers and rabbis. At least we're, a good chunk of them. Welcome to Sukkah MCs. We got a new single we're gonna drop for you about shaking it. How you shake the Lulav and Etrog. But welcome. I wanted to let's see here. Just gonna go like that and not look at ourselves. All right. All right. So it's first event for a while, bringing the people together. Part of Sukkot is welcoming people, and rappers and rabbis. This is streaming through Bible Raps. I'm Matt Barr, executive director of Bible Raps, and we got here with me Tex Rich Ali, who tours with me for the past 4 years and part of the co-founder of Rappers and Rabbis. And we got Internal Rhyme here, part of the Rappers and Rabbis crew. We're lucky enough he came out from LA to visit us. And welcoming is a big part of the Sukkot. You invite people over. It's a mitzvah to have people in your sukkah, to eat in your sukkah, to talk in your sukkah, even dance in your sukkah. And Rappers and Rabbis, part of what we do is we create events for people to come through and have a good time based around our love for hip hop and Judaism. Hip hop, anywhere from making videos, beatboxing, rapping, freestyling, etc. And the Judaism, just the idea of there's a lot to learn from the past, wisdom from the past. So I can tell before the the COVID, that was like what really got me excited, to bring people together and have good times. But now bringing people together gives me a little anxiety. So it's good that Sukkot kind of puts the pressure on you to create community and get over that social anxiety, because it's a good, healthy thing to get together. And that's what Rappers and Rabbis is here to do, is to bring people together and form community. Because I think over the past 15, 16 months, we realized how important community is. So we're going to be doing a lot of events in person the more it opens up with COVID. Right now, we're doing this virtually. And we're going to go through our new album. And Frank, if you can throw up our we have three different ideas for what we want to be the name of the album. And we would love to do a quiz. What do you think should be our album name? Right now, the two album titles we're considering are Rappers and Rabbis Hip Hop Liturgy. And then we're also considering Rappers and Rabbis Bars and Mitzvahs. So if you have a preference or think one is better than the other, but we're going to go through our album that we just got mastered, that is a remix of Jewish prayers. And while doing so, we'll have some conversations. So mental health, I was talking about social anxiety. Mental health is a big thing about Rappers and Rabbis does. Come together, have community, talk about our problems and our challenges. And so we have an actual social worker here, an Internal Rhyme, and I will be asking him about different things from Nietzsche. We got a couple books we'll be going through, but Rhyme, if you want to just talk about how you see as mental health professional, how COVID and lack of personal live community has been affecting people.
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, right before we started the stream, Matt, Ali, and I were just having a conversation about that exact thing and about how Rappers and Rabbis has really kicked into gear throughout the time of COVID, but also at the same time, it threw us in a new direction where we weren't obviously interacting with people face to face. And, we got very comfortable with the computer screen, but the more and more comfortable we got with the computer screen, the less and less comfortable we now are standing in this space of inviting people back slowly in person. And part of that reason is also the fact that it's all been so unpredictable the entire time. We thought 3 months ago that we were getting ready to gear up for a lot of shows again. And now we're kind of back in this place where we can kind of do some events, we can do outdoor events, we have to analyze other events. So it's pretty tricky. And aside from being tricky, it also just, I don't know, it just changed our day-to-day way of socializing in such a way that we kind of had to learn a new skill again. And now we're being thrown kind of back into our original skill set. And yeah, it's all just pretty unmanageable. So
right. So come jump off the diving board with us a few times, and you'll get used to hanging out with us. We'll get used to hanging out with you again.
Yeah, through all the discomfort, we are here to have a great time, and we're comfortable today, and we're happy to be here.
All right, so we're going to start with the first song, which is about welcoming, off of our remix of Jewish Prayer Service. This is was produced by Tex Rich Ali. So it's called Ma Tovu. If you want to tell about, it sounds different than the rest of the tracks because the other ones are kind of traditional hip hop beats by people like Crates and Matt Bars, who's got a ghost producer. But Tex Rich Ali put together this one. If you want to tell them about how you produced this.
I think I more or less laid some of the source track sounds and Crates finalized the production for
right.
Digital Crates. But what we did, I remember when we started with the concept, I started with an African bass drum. So I started with a South African bass drum that's kind of like the driving force. And then as how we had discussed as we were playing around with it, I laid the didgeridoo down. And the didgeridoo, which is an ancient kind of a horn instrument, seems to really start to share like a kind of kindred connection to the traditional Jewish horn, the shofar.
Right.
And like the way that the shofar is told to evoke and invite, so the didgeridoo is serving in that same place to do just that with this edition of Ma Tovu.
Beautiful. So we're going to play this, and then what we're going to do is we're going to kind of gamify it, which is we each can stop it once, give a reaction, kind of like a reaction video to our own material. And so this is, these guys haven't heard this yet. This is all these are the new masters that we're about to release, and I'm proud to play it for my guys here. Make sure everything's set up, and we'll talk you through it as it goes. And this is the start of the album. This is Ma Tovu.
With the wall.
Welcome, my people. Please sit where you want. Sit where you want. Sit where you want. And eye on the side and two eyes to the front. Eyes to the front, eyes to the front. Your spirit alive, the Shekhinah, she's home. Shekhinah, she's home. Shekhinah, she's home. So feel out the vibe, just to feel it is flow. To feel it is flow. To feel it is flow. Hip hop on play now, get ready, let's go. The didgeridoo and the shofar will blow. The rhythm is given, just follow the flow. Community singing my tovu, my toe. Hey! We're in my neighborhood right now. Out in the suburbs, they're probably wondering what's going on, but this is how we roll in the Sukkah. All right, so I'm going to stop it for my reaction. I want to just give you the heads up. So Ma Tovu is the welcome song in the Jewish service, and something that we add, the hip hop that we add to the Jewish service is not just remixing the songs and remixing the prayers, nor just adding beats, but we also bring the cypher, which is another elevated, sacred way of relating to one another communally. And Purple, who is a hip hop Rebbe, breaks down what a cipher is on this track. And this kind of sets, when we do the service, we're explaining right now, okay, everybody here, not only are we going to go through the prayers, we're also going to integrate elements of the cipher to the service. And that's what hip hop Rebbe Purple is about to break down for you.
A hip hop cipher is when the community gathers in a circle-like formation where everyone is participating, no one is spectating. What's happening in the cipher is individuals are demonstrating their most creative and authentic self-expression. That could be beatboxing, it could be dance moves, it could be rapping, both written or improv, which we call freestyle. The cipher is about peace, it's about love, and it's the hip-hop community way. It's about love. Well,
All right, so I'll give my reaction before we get the next verse. So I never really actually thought about, until Matt just pointed out Ali's really dope production on this, how different it was from the rest of the album. And it really, I feel like I'm really appreciating today that as the introduction to this album, it really gets us in the right headspace to like enter this holiness, but also, you know, this dope, incredible piece of work with bars. And then, you know, as you'll hear in a second, I think this is where like it kind of kicks in and we really start to feel that even more.
Right on. Yeah, and also the cipher, if you didn't know it, before the exile from Israel 2,000 years ago, archaeologists, the way the Jews prayed traditionally, they were in a circle. They were in a cipher, which is a lot more interactive, a lot more looking at each other, whereas synagogue, which is a Greek term, kind of became the format is when we were outside of Israel and kind of did what other cultures were doing, which was more of a frontal experience. So we're trying to bring back the cipher, which has always been there with these elements of hip hop.
about love, and it's the hip hop community way.
Prepare for prayer, Hebra come grab a chair, congregation for community, Mr. Yaakov for mayor, warm welcome, greetings of shalom, get comfortable, and make the synagogue your home. How goodly are thy tents, when they're blessed by their children, their parents, family, and friends, minyan, ladies, and gents. Gather the crew, let's do what we do, rappers and rabbis, the matovu, rendezvous,
The intention of the cipher has everybody have an opportunity to be unified and experience one. Unified. One. Opportunity. Unified. One. It's about love. Well. It's about love. And it's the hip hop community way. Unified. One. Opportunity. And it's the hip hop community way. One.
There's Ali finishing the guitar so sweetly. We'll do some live here in a sec, but that was Ma Tovu, the introductory song to the service, because what we're putting together is a hip-hop service, a hip-hop Shabbat service, and that introduces the concept of the cipher, because interactivity makes the vibe, makes the holiness, when everybody is participating to a degree, really elevates the energy. That's what I've learned as a performer for the past 15 years, is that no matter how good of a rapper I am, if I get the crowd involved, that's going to be a better performance than if it's me spitting some of the best bars you've ever heard. And hip hop is all about getting the crowd involved. Say ho or yo or oi, words. So we're gonna now move. I want to play this actually single just to get it right for that me, Crates, and Internal Rhyme put together. That's for Sukkah. That's for the Sukkah. That's for Sukkot. And it even has the directions of the prayer you're supposed to do with the Etrog and Lulav. But this is what my Etrog and Lulav turned into, because not only there was a thunderstorm that took my Etrog and Lulav out, but it wasn't actually that. It was this evil squirrel. And I got this squirrel that one time tried to break into our car. Like the top of the windows that was covered with rubber was all torn up. All our garbage cans are bitten into. There's holes on all of it. But I didn't know that this squirrel was anti-Semitic until this season. He came and just launched our Etrog and Lulav. So when I do this dance, it's going to be with this. My son made it, so you can't hate on it. He's only 4. You know, it was that dang squirrel with the little whiskers. His whiskers were even cut close, you know, and he came in there somehow and ate all the Etrog and Lulav.
If you hadn't mentioned his whiskers were cut, I would have thought maybe for a minute that the squirrel was trying to actually get into the cipher, just didn't know how to.
That's true too.
But you know, since you mentioned the cut,
yeah, that gave him away, right? And you know, he came in here, he's eating. Gave me one of those. Gave me one of those, just right in front of my face. Eating my Etrog. They gave me a little one of these. So
yeah, it might be hard to keep that squirrel.
I don't know. That squirrel was. We try to keep a safe space here and bring, you know, where everybody's welcome, but you know that squirrel is not welcome.
Yeah, tell me how real quick on the way over from LAX, I saw this family in LAX. And this kid had a giant lulav, and I looked at him and thought we were about to have this moment, and I was like, yo, bro, I really like your lulav. And he just looked at me and looked away and kept walking. And I was like, damn, man. Yeah.
Well, he's probably not used to talking to people anymore.
So maybe he could have a cycle with the squirrel.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe that's where
or maybe it's that social.
I'll give him the number to that squirrel.
Or he'd have a lot of lulav to see.
So here we go. We got, I'm going to play this. Crates, shout out to Digital Crates for cooking up this single. This is called Lulav Love by me and he. We'll put out a video for this eventually for next year. Great. Shake it like an Etrog and a Lulav Love. A Lulav Love, love, love. Shake it like an Etrog and a Lulav Love. A Lulav, love, love. Shake it like an Etrog and a Lulav Love. A Lulav, love. Here's the dance. You gotta go. Shake it to the east, shake it to the shake it to the shake it to the south, shake it to the shake it to the shake it to the west, shake it up, shake it to the north, break it down, shake it up high, shake it up, shake it down low, break it down, shake it like a net. And I just did the mitzvah, that mitzvah dance.
Mama stepping on my sukkah, touching on my soul, use a real fine looker. It's how she shakes, say less I took her. With this in her face, made her mark like Zucker. She impressed by a tall guy, I'm 5 foot up. But you know I use my lulav right in the night. Eating up a piece outside my cooker. Fall asleep to the starlight, perfectly bright. In LA, we get used to the palm trees. But that beauty here display got me on knees. Being gracious and grateful for one dance. Put their hands to the knees, put it on me. Rock with you all year, girl, it isn't apparent. We standing on the tier, a Shemini and Terry. Can we start it off new like it ain't been top? Say yes, and I'm grooving like a simcha.
Shake it like an Etrog and a Lulav Love. A Lulav, Lulav Love. Shake it like an Etrog and a Lulav Love. A Lulav, Lulav Love. Shake it like an Etrog and a Lulav Love. A Lulav, Lulav Love. Shake it to the east, here we go. Shake it to the shake it to the south. Shake it to the shake it to the shake it to the west. Shake it up, shake it to the north. Break it down, shake it up high. Shake it up, shake it down low. Break it down, shake it like You guys want to get the mitzvah done? Just do the dance. Hey, Miss Kosher, can I get closer? I'm what's up below's a toaster. Drinks on me, Bill folds a coaster. In my Red Rover, calling you over like, girl, you're so anal. Want to hear me rap about Cain and Abel? If you like that, think I'd be able to show Nagia under the table. Take it like an Etrog and a Lulav, love. A Lulav, Lulav, love. Shake it like an Etrog and a Lulav, love. A Lulav, Lulav, love. Shake it to the east, shake it to the, shake it to the, shake it to the south. Shake it to the, shake it to the, shake it to the west. Shake it up, shake it up, shake it to the north. Break it down, shake it up high. Shake it up, shake it down low. Break it down, shake it like an Etrog and a Lulav. We'll be returning to this one throughout Sukkot, and we'll get everybody who comes in the Sukkah to do that once, and we'll have a great little mashup of people doing the mitzvah, because it's a mitzvah to shake it to the 6 directions with the Etrog and Lulav. And I'll try to get a better Etrog and Lulav, because that Hitler squirrel came and ate mine.
I was just posting the other day that squirrels are pretty gangster.
Yeah, they're a little too comfortable with us humans. You know, they're a little too comfortable. Like, I don't know, we got to get them scared of us a little more.
They some tough dudes.
Yeah,
you know, they got their own mob.
They survived. I mean, they out of all the animals, there's still squirrels like hanging out with us, but they're not domesticated. They didn't sell out like dogs.
I wonder if squirrels even got on the boat with Noah, or did they did their own thing?
Right. The squirrels got their own little acorn boat.
They might
like, we
good,
son.
That's what they were doing with all the nutshell.
Right.
It was like, oh, forget those cupids. We going like.
Right. There you go. All right. So this next one, that was shake it, or that was Lulav Love, which is you know, about being on the sukkah with your loved one. All those lyrics were directed towards our significant other.
That was pretty cool. I like that too.
Good, yeah.
And then it kind of took me. I kind of went Prince with the.
Yeah. When I made that part, I was like, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Outdone himself.
No, there's little moments where you're just like, I think that was good. You know, everything. I was like, I'm doing my job, and they're like, okay.
You gotta experiment.
Yeah,
and
right.
Sometimes it's just how.
Right. So, you know, with rappers and rabbis, when we get together, we learn from one another too. Like, I'm listening to how rhyme ad-libs, you know. I never have like an ad-lib style except just doubling up, you know. But ad-libs are such a thing, especially in the past, like, you know, with Migos, since Migos, like the new, it's like a whole another lane of a verse, you know, that you're putting down. And I don't know.
Literally.
So speaking of our beloved ones, we're gonna go back to what the hip hop literature is all about. The service that is a hip hop Jewish service. So we started with Ma Tovu, welcoming everybody with the didgeridoo and the shofar, and that track explaining what the cypher is and how that's gonna be incorporated in the service. So when you bring us in, we're gonna do the traditional prayers remixed with bars and beats, but also we're going to incorporate and integrate the cypher into the service, which is an opportunity for the people in the audience to participate in the actual performance. And so that's what Purple explained. And now during Yedid Nefesh, the next thing, Yedid Nefesh is my beloved, and that's kind of welcoming the Sabbath queen, so to speak. I mean, it's something you say to your wife, but you also sing it before Shabbat starts, to be really excited to invite the holy presence of the Shekhinah, as it were, which is like the feminine presence of God, when God feels close to you and comforting and nurturing. So that's what Yedid Nefesh is about. But when we do Yedid Nefesh live, there's a large chunk where Anat singing the whole prayer. Anat Hochberg, shout out to Anat Hochberg, who does a lot of great vocals on this album. And while she's singing, we are then assigning different people in the audience who's going to do the parts of the cypher. So it's integrated into the service that we say, the first track, we say what the cypher is, opportunity to freestyle rap, written rap, to dance, beatbox. And now during this one, we go out and say, okay, who's going to be part? Who's wants to do the rap part? Who wants to do the freestyle part? Who wants to do the dance part, the beat part? Now we got that all locked in for the rest of the service. So the strategy is to really integrate the cypher, all these participatory elements to the traditional Jewish service. And we think it's going to make it a lot more exciting for young people and old people. And that's why you should bring us in to do for a Shabbaton, because we're going to bring a hip hop Jewish service to you like you've never seen before. And the young people, the young families are going to be blown away by it and relate to it, because that's what they came up with, hip hop. So this next one is Yedina Fesh. The main verse is by Papa Left. Shout out to Papa Left. This is a gorgeous verse with him inviting his beloved to kind of participate in the Shabbat ceremony. And then the other person on this is Mr. E, who we'll talk about more. But Mr. E is kind of our New Jersey rep, doing a lot of great rappers and rabbis co-sponsored events over the next 3 or 4 months, which we'll talk about. But this is Yedina Fesh. Again, we're going over our hip hop liturgy album, which just got mastered, and we'll talk about it some more. This is the second song. Imagine we're on Friday night. Boom, we hit him with the Matovu. Now we're doing Yedina Fesh.
Hey beloved, would you stay a minute? Every day I'm running just to pay for something. When you pay a visit, Papa stuck the hustle. Put the money down, there's only one above you. So I set the table by the candlelight, cover up the bread and pour the wine. I'ma turn and face before that door could whine, cause when you step in, you make the floor divine. But you more than mine, this ain't no courting down for the time. Just to sport a wife, you the core of life. When the war inside, wanna warp the mind. You my tour guide, searching for advice in a horde of lies. I'ma organize, I'ma call my guys, hit them for the tribes. We gon' form a line, she gon' walk in, you can feel the vibes like now that
So while this is all going on, not singing yada da da da, we'll go out to the audience. We'll probably be working with some of the local people who are usually there for services, or some madrachim, and being like, oh, who wants to do rap with this madrich? Who wants to do freestyle with this madrich? Who wants to do beats with this madrich? And in this 2-minute part, that's part of the prayer, we're going to integrate that volunteering time so it doesn't take up so much time, but we'll be locked in, so this service will really run nicely during this track. So we're thinking ahead of how to make the hip-hop Jewish service integrate the cypher as smooth and seamlessly as possible, in order to make a service that's a lot more participatory friendly and turned up, as it were.
בשורתך אל רצונך ירוץ עבדך כמו היד ישתחווה אל מול הדרך ירב לו ידידותך מנוף עצוב בכל טעם. Relaxation, restoration, respiration into elation. For 6 days been waiting patient for the 7th Sabbath day sacred. Relaxation, restoration, respiration into elation. For 6 days been waiting patient for the 7th Sabbath day sacred.
Awesome. All right, so track number 2 in our hip hop liturgy, where we remix the traditional Jewish prayer service with hip hop beats and bars, as well as the cipher. And that was Yedid Nefesh featuring Papa Left and Mr. E and Anat Hochberg, as well as the rest of the gang. So we're moving on. I wanted to just, we're going to take a little bit of time and we're talking about how we're trying to create a hip hop liturgic experience out of the Jewish services. And we love, part of when we get together as rappers and rabbis is to read some wisdom of the past. You know, that's the rabbi part, is to study some text. And the rapper part is to drop bars, etc. And so if that sounds like something you're interested in, on our website, you can sign up for the upcoming fellowship where you can learn and create with guys like us. But I wanted to go to Joey Weisenberg. Shout out to Joey Weisenberg for his great work in singing communities. He really works with Nigunim, the singing communities. But we learned a lot how to create these communities from people like Joey Weisenberg. And so I just wanted to throw out some why people come together to sing. They come for widely divergent reasons, any one of which is meaningful enough and probably reason enough to consider the kind of community commitment I'm suggesting, Joey's suggesting. So we're attempting to create a larger and larger community around the idea of hip hop and Judaism, either in the Beit Midrash, where we talk about ideas and rap about them, or in the Beit Knesset, which is the house of prayer, where we take Jewish prayers, add bars, beats, and the cipher to the service part of it. And so we wanted to go into what makes a community centered around singing and rapping vibrant. And here's some ideas from Joey Weisenberg that I thought I'd throw out to us. Anybody out there who's has any opinions, feel free to write us a note or be in touch with us. But here's some great reasons of why how Jewish community in general can manifest around music and rap. Music has always been intricately interwoven into Jewish life. When we sing today, we feel connected to the great Jewish singers of centuries past, from King David to Yosel Rosenblatt. So obviously on our album, we remix Debbie Friedman. I don't think we remix Yosel Rosenblatt, but we remix King David's, his Psalms. But also just a part of prayer is, even though Hebrew is difficult, it's pretty cool when you're trying to say these prayers in Hebrew to know that people for the past 2,000, 3,000 years, your ancestors were saying these same words, and you kind of and we're thinking these same thoughts. So you are connecting to your ancestors when you're actually saying the same words. Some people say it 3 times a day, and you're trying to orient your thoughts in the exact same way your ancestors were trying to orient your thoughts. There's something special about trying to see things through your ancestors' eyes as you do prayer. So another reason for Jewish community through music is singing allows us to communicate and express ourselves in ways that words cannot. An example is our yearning for the divine, or in the communication of our deepest sorrows or joys. Anybody have is there ways that singing or rapping, etc., allows us to communicate and express ourselves in ways that words cannot? An example of our yearning for the divine, Rabbi Josh Warshawski actually has a great piece of Torah, how everything, the beginning of the universe started with a hum, and then it got more intricate, but it all started with a hum. And that's kind of, a hum is an unformed word, an unformed song, but it's just the basic frequency. So everybody getting tuned into that hum, then we can really create an orchestra.
I do think there's like varying levels, layers to like some of the healing or soothing comfort or movement of energy that can come from a musical experience. So when you think about it on an individual level, you know, just a person individually experiencing some type of creative expression, beginning with a hum that moves into some vision. That's one movement. But when you can share that with others, that adds in or multiplies, I think, sometimes the effect that can be experienced. And so, and that's another like way I think about the group experience, like with music. It's sort of like it sort of speaks to like the relationship of like melody and harmony. So like harmony is a whole nother level of color and vibration and energy coalescing and being together.
Right.
Yeah. Community like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was really well said, Ali. I don't know if I can top that, but what it makes me think of is what Ali just said kind of makes me think of like the process of how a lot of new age hip hop is created, which is like kind of going back to that idea. I don't necessarily do this with a lot of my songs, but I know that this is a really common process now where folks will go in the booth and kind of just literally hum out what they imagine their verse will sound like, then turn that to a melody, then fit words to the melody. And I think that's why oftentimes like it's easy to think about mumble rap as something that's really simple. But I think as the last 10 years have gone on and we've seen hip hop develop more, we're beginning to see like why people do really relate to this music that's not lyrically like as complicated, but it's because it goes back to that same like melody that people really just feel.
Right.
Yeah.
I hear that. All right, here's another one. Singing brings us closer to each other in a community and teaches us how to listen to each other on many levels, despite what may seem to be our vastly different backgrounds and worldviews. I think that's kind of what you're talking about with harmony, and if you just and even ad libs and kind of the cipher.
But then also, like you also just said there, is like the ability to listen, to be heard in a different way. And it seems like sometimes maybe certain areas or realms, it's not easy to relate how you feel or who you are, but perhaps within music, like there's a space to convey some of those ideas.
Right. Right. Like people say, I want to be, I want to be seen. But, the same way, you can get whatever that does to get your mind right or your soul right of being seen. It could the same, I want to be heard, So if I'm sitting there rapping and then someone's ad libs, and then we start vibing together, so the ad lib and my rap are creating something new. He's being heard, I'm being heard, creates a kind of community vibe, which is what we're trying to stretch the Jewish service with. Singing marks time and thereby puts us in touch with the rhythms of life. We see how throughout our liturgy, different types of melodies are used to differentiate between different times of the Jewish day, week, month, and year. And yeah.
And I've been finding lately too, like in toughest moments, like say, just thinking like, we're well into fall, but we're off, on the following the equinox here. It's a beautiful time at the moment, but just thinking about some of the hotter days in the summer and just tough times in general, and where I just might be in the middle of a movement or work, and I don't really feel like I physically have the energy. But somehow, I think, the second I plug my mind into a musical movement, and then, if I'm just humming along and singing, it's just like that in and of itself can carry me like from one place to another.
Right.
And it's because I consciously chose to connect to it, to the music.
Yeah.
And so even like on an individual level, it's like something that is sustaining, but then again, it's like, that's something that we all can kind of share at different times.
Yeah. I think my favorite music, the best music to me of all people, I'm talking like Bob Marley, Mozart, early Beatles, Elliott Smith, Radiohead. These are ones that I can play and do work to. It's almost like ADHD medicine, like Mozart and Bob Marley. Like when I need to concentrate, like the first thing I'll do is play the right music to get me zoned in. And it's like, imagine contributing that to culture.
Right.
For, you know, like there's a lot of people who are going to be able to focus better because of Mozart or Bob Marley, you know, like a lot of people who are going to lock in and be more productive or lock in and be better people because, like you said, there's this energy out there that you can press play and you lock in and now you're elevated a bit. So, you know, I think also the whole differentiating between day, week, month, and year, it's been such a weird year and a half where my schedule has been completely obliterated. And I do a lot better when I have a schedule. So having to kind of invent your own schedule makes me you know, some of the difficulties has been, you know, not having differentiation in time. So singing reminds you that that's an important, beautiful thing that makes things, you know, move. All right. So with that, we're going to play the next one. I'm going to go plug in this. But we're going to play the next one. Again, we're going through the masters. First time we've heard the masters of our new album. It's a hip-hop liturgy album. We're still working on what the name will be. But it's a hip-hop liturgy album. We take the Jewish traditional service and we add hip-hop raps, hip-hop beats, and we bring the cypher, which is a concept from hip-hop. All of that is what you would get if you brought us in to your community. We'd bring a hip-hop Shabbat for Friday night and Saturday night services, and we do these songs, which are remixes of classic Jewish prayers. Like, for example, this next one, which is the Shema. This features Tex Rich Ali and myself. Shema, you know, is this song and this prayer is probably 3,500 years old at least, and we're still singing it anew. And this is our version of the Shema as part of our hip-hop liturgy experience, remixed in Jewish service with hip-hop. We're going to bust the Shema. Hope you like it. I'm going to go get my... One time for your mind. One time for your mind. One God from the squad, one God from the squad, one God from the squad. One time for your mind. One time for your mind. One God from the squad, one God from the squad, one God from the squad. Shema Yisrael. Adonai Eloheinu. Adonai Echad. Adonai Echad.
Breathing what is Holy Spirit like? 1 foot, 1 love, and 1 might. 1 race, 1 God, and 1 light. 2 hands, 1 left and 1 right. The many and the all involved in 1 fight. When division is the plight, it's solved when we unite. Cause 1 ain't free if all ain't free. And you are not you if I am not me. Contemplate, elevate with the Elohim. Rappers and rabbis, 1 hell of a team. Building with the Musar, expressing a few bars. Traveling so far to the side of the shofar.
1 of a kind hanging from the 1 vine. Wild grapes in the shade sometime. Become fine wine with a little sunshine. It's now past noon. Can I get a 1 time? 1 time for your mind. 1 time for your mind. 1 God from the squad. 1 God from the squad. 1 God from the squad. 1 time for your mind. 1 time for your mind. 1 God from the squad. 1 God from the squad. 1 God from the squad. Shema Yisrael. Adonai Eloheinu. Adonai Echad. Adonai. All right, so this next verse, admittedly, it's from my most well-known song, I'm Not White, I'm Jewish, but since I've already been made a pariah out of 1 too many communities due to this song, I've retired it, except for rappers and rabbis, because we're all adults at rappers and rabbis, and these young eggshell minds might just break if they hear this song. Never the song called "I'm Not White, I'm Jewish." So I took the verse, threw it on Shema, because I wanted it to live somewhere. Not trying to be a prophet, but he who parted the sea is a part of me. When I look in my heart, I see the same history and mystery. I'm G-D'd up, I'ma read up with my feet up. Sabbath is just practice till we all get freed up. Please plant your seeds up, Israel's the bride and the groom's inside. One of a kind hanging from the one vine. Wild grapes in the shade sometime become fine wine with a little sunshine. It's now past noon, can I get a one time? One time for your mind, one time for your mind. One God from the squad, one God from the squad, one God from the squad. One time for your mind, one time for your mind. One God from the squad, one God from the squad, one God from the squad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Adonai Echad. All right. So that was the Shema. Again, we're going through the hip hop liturgy service, where we remix the Jewish service with hip hop bars and beats and bring the cipher as well. And you can bring us into your Shabbaton when you are comfortable to do so due to COVID and whatnot. We're all vaccinated up and ready to go and ready to get out there. We're rappers, part of Rappers and Rabbis crew. Again, we're listening to our new album. These are the masters. And that was the Shema, which is kind of the organizing mission statement of the Jewish people. So I wanted to kind of read a little bit of Nietzsche. We brought in some Joey Weisenberg. Now we're going to bring in some Nietzsche, because we bring in the great thinkers of each century. And this Nietzsche talks about your mission statement or your team's mission statement in a really poetic way. I'm going to read that, and then maybe we can hear from people here, their reaction to it in regards to Rappers and Rabbis, because all of us have our own get down, but we all come together to be part of this community with our love of hip hop and Judaism and wisdom from the past and the cipher and so forth. So this is what Nietzsche says about destiny. Our destiny commands us, even when we do not yet know what it is. It is the future which gives the rule to our present. Granted that it is the problem of hierarchy which we may call our problem, we free spirits. Only now, in the noonday of our lives, do we understand what preparations, detours, trials, temptations, disguises were needed before the problem was permitted to rise up before us. So I want to give you guys, I'll read it again. This is Nietzsche about a big thing in grants is we're a nonprofit, Rappers and Rabbis, and grants often ask, what is the problem you're trying to solve? And so this talks about a meditation on what the problem you're trying to solve is. And that changes the more we do Rappers and Rabbis, because we see where we're effective and where we're not. So I'm going to read this one more time about how this is about Tikkun Olam, basically. What can you fix? Is there something out there that you think you have a unique skill set to fix? If so, what are you doing in your present in order to fix that in the future? And Nietzsche says, our destiny commands us, even when we do not yet know what it is. It is the future which gives the rule to our present. Granted that it is the problem of hierarchy, which we may call our problem. We free spirits. Only now in the noonday of our lives do we understand what preparations, detours, trials, temptations, disguises were needed before the problem was permitted to rise up before us. And so if anybody wants to talk about the problem, when you think of Rappers and Rabbis, and people will come and say, let's say we're in a big meeting for funding or for a gig, or what is Rappers and Rabbis, the problem that we are trying to help solve? The Tikkun Olam, the Tikkun we're trying to make in the world out there. I'm happy to hear from any of you guys about that. We got co-founder of Tex Rich Ali and member Internal Rhyme here. So we got the squad here. So we're going to do a little, what's the point of Rappers and Rabbis and creating this community? What problem are we trying to fix?
Yeah, I can start on this one. So I don't want to speak so personally, because I think Rappers and Rabbis is beneficial to so many kinds of people, but it's hard not to focus on the benefit it's brought me. And I think it's relatable to the issue that maybe we can help solve, or one of them. I think there's more than one. But I know one of them is that as many millennia have like taught us, a lot of folks have to navigate finding their place within community and spirituality. And I know for myself, that's always been my experience in the Jewish community, although I've always loved every sector I've entered. But at this current time in my life, I live in Los Angeles. I'm working full-time day to day, working on a music career outside of that. Haven't really had the opportunity because of COVID to actually go in person and build any Jewish community. So what Rappers and Rabbis has allowed me to do is actually engage with my Judaism more than I have in many years past, and channeling it in a very new way, in a way that really works for me. And even, before we started the stream, I was saying to Matt and Ali, this is my first time stepping in a sukkah this Sukkot. And, I flew across the country to do this with Rappers and Rabbis, and, to see my family, but also to do this with Rappers and Rabbis. And no, so the fact remains that, like, I think we can provide an outlet for folks that are Jewish or have an interest in engaging with Judaism and their own like communities and spirituality. That really doesn't exist anywhere else. And really, just that's the problem it solved for me.
Right on.
Yeah, that's good. If I got a little bit too, yeah. So this is my third time stepping in a sukkah, and each time has been a sharing experience, a creative experience, and I think it's also kind of marked a moment in time. I think in the evolution of friendships, building Rappers and Rabbis, and what Nietzsche was talking about there, I was thinking about that. So I guess like the question of like mission and vision, and or feeling a sense of a driving sense of purpose. So like the question of what is, in what way, or what could Rappers and Rabbis as a group be up to fixing? It's crazy, but I think some of the answers are unknown, in that just through the opportunity to build community and network, some of those things are uncovered, and people learn and discover them. Like even from, like in a given moment, if we're serving a certain population or individual or group, by sharing attention there, that particular person might not necessarily fit even what's in the mission statement, but somehow the building of community creates that clarity. Right. So in some ways, like maybe it's, but on the flip side, I'm thinking about ourselves, like each of us as, as men in families, or as educators, right, and as artists, and looking at kind of the unique way we're able to like uplift each other and support each other, and to help each other kind of stay focused on our goals and keep a positive attitude, and we create a positive space for each other to be in together. So I think that, right, somehow we're doing that for each other, and we're extending that to others. Right. So
I feel that. Yeah, I think, well, shout out to Metro West New Jersey Federation for their support this past year for the fellowship, which brought a number of us together to kind of be a group of, a minion almost, a group of 10 guys. We'll welcome females for this next fellowship. But, a group of guys to come together to support one another virtually. But now we're going to kind of, I think we've gotten to create such a nice climate of community when we're all together, that when we bring that out to a community, they can kind of jump into the vibe we set, like what you said. So, and I think another problem, which we probably don't need to get into too deeply, is, we have there's two houses of Rappers and Rabbis. There's the Beat Midrash, playing the words Beit Midrash, which means house of study, and the Beit Knesset, playing the word Beit Knesset, house of prayer, house of service. And so the Beit Knesset is where we come together and pray, and that's what we're going through. We're going through what right now our hip hop liturgy album, but we also have the Beit Midrash, which really leans into two unique elements of, I think, hip hop and rabbinic Judaism in the Beit Midrash or in the studio, or, you know, in the booth, as Papa Left would say. You're free to really speak. There's not much judgment on what you're going to be, what you're saying. You can kind of be free to explore ideas. If you stumble and kind of say the wrong thing, you're not going to get ostracized. It's a pretty safe space to really talk about ideas. And since we're a pretty diverse group, religiously, ethnically, you know, we have a pretty good vocabulary and a pretty good culture of talking about difficult things. And so we invite that for our participants to come to a place where we can talk about things that they might be scared to talk about, because if you say the wrong thing in a certain place, it might be ostracized. Whereas we are only trying to create a place where you're comfortable going in, rapping about what you want to rap about and talking about what you want to talk about. There'll be proper feedback, but that's part of our culture, is that it's not a yes and culture. It's an okay to say no culture. And that's different than, I think, a lot of what the culture out there is kind of making sure no one's offended. Whereas it's okay if we say things that are offensive, because we create a climate where getting offended isn't the point. It's trying to explore, well, why was that offensive, and maybe even cure some ignorant moments. I know myself, I had ignorant moments, and people around me had ignorant moments, and they're still my best friends. But we learn from it, like, why it's, you know, like growing up, my dad always called me boy. You know, it's like, how you doing, boy? And so I have a lot of very close Black friends in my life, and I say boy to them. And I had to, like, cut that, because it just wasn't, it was like, you know, it's like, what'd you think about that, boy? You know, and Marcus would be like, don't call me boy. You know what I mean? But it wouldn't be like, you call me boy, I'll never talk to you again. You know, so it's part of having a diverse community, is accepting that people might be ignorant rather than malicious. And I think we practice that pretty well.
Call people in.
Right.
I heard that once. I like that. Right?
That is a
call people in. That's dope.
Instead of calling them out.
Call out, you call in, and with that being said, you know, when it's time to educate, we should educate each other in a way that we call each other in and we talk about it.
Right.
And then a person, you know, a lot of times I think when people are, you know, like waving banners and flags to go do calling out, it's like they're going to win points. They're, you know, if you call someone in, then at least you're checking in with them about, you know, about ideas, and you want to have that kind of a conversation where you can hear some points of view and they can hear some points of view. And at least you can understand or build something there. But, you know, like a lot of times I think the idea of people calling others out, you know, is just to say, hey, you're bad because you said the wrong trigger word. And it's just like, I called them out.
Right.
You know?
I think like that, like there's such an emphasis, at least when I was, because I like woke, as long as you don't have fangs, right? Like, shout out to Molly.
Woke with fangs.
Yeah, woke. It's not the woke part that people have problems with. It's the fangs. Like, oh, I'm going to call them out with like this, calling them out versus a call in. Like, if you're hip to something that I'm saying that's offensive, you can deal with that in two ways. One's calling them in, like, let's huddle up. This is what I think some people might not, and you've done that to me. You've done that to me. It's not like a calling out to ostracize. And so we're learning together, you know. So, you know, there are some people who, it's not the woke part that bothers me. It's being woke with fangs. Like you said, like you're on some mission to, like, oh, what I was going to say is, because when growing up, like, my heroes by virtue of education was like Martin Luther King Jr., like racism. So now when you're older, like, the best thing I can do is stop a racist. And so then you see someone as close to being racist and you're like, I did it, I got one. You know what I mean? Like now they're done, versus like, and then you like feel like a mitzvah point, because we were raised like that's what righteousness is, to call out racism. But there's a certain, I think we got to learn how to call in versus call out. I think it's a really interesting concept that we can further explore at Rappers and Rabbis Get Downs, you know. And we meet Rappers and rabbis meet at least once a week for Shabbat services, but we'll also be meeting one more time a week once the fellowship begins. So we're going to continue going on this album, and I wanted to read. Do you want to do? We'll do the album version, which is the song is Hamirah. I wanted to read one more Nietzsche for you, if I can find it. Hamirah is a song by Rabbi Josh Warshawski. I'll find it. Hamirah is a song by Josh Warshawski. And oh no, the next one, my bad. The next one is Oseh Shalom. So let's go back to the hip hop liturgy. This is the service. Now imagine if you're familiar with the prayers of Judaism, it's a Friday night and you come to your shul and we're there and it's the hip hop service. Boom, we hit you with the remix of Ma Tovu. During Ma Tovu, we explain what the Cypher is and how all of you can participate in this service, young and old. There's an element. You can make a beat. You can help with the beat. You can help with the freestyle, the rap, or the dance. That's all elements of the Cypher. And then we hit you with Yedid Nefesh. So Ma Tovu is calling us together to pray. Yedid Nefesh is calling upon our beloved, be it our soul, be it the Sabbath Queen, be it the Shekhinah, to join us. And now that we're all together as people, now we want God to be there. And then the next thing is the fundamental prayer of Judaism and of rappers and rabbis, this idea of oneness. We're all God's children. Even though we're all different, there's something that we all share in common. That's what we try to lean into when we're a community. So it makes a community, some kind of organizing principle. And then the next one of the next most important values of Judaism and hip hop is this next prayer, Oseh Shalom, peace, which is a song, an ode to peace and bringing peace to the world. And you want to talk about some ways hip hop really values peace. Even if just in Israel, you say shalom means peace, but hello and goodbye. When in hip hop, the slang is peace. It's kind of like the goodbye of hip hop in the slang. Anything, peace, love, and having fun. You want to get into that?
The principle, peace, love, and having fun. Big Daddy Kane to tag a song with a nice, "Here I come to make them," and give them a nice "Assalamu alaikum."
Right. Right.
KRS One, BDP, peace and unity. Just a little tag at the end of the line. But yeah, hip hop, just like in the spirit of the Cypher. I think, we definitely want to come and go and sense of peace and bring peace.
Word up. So we'll play this. This is Oseh Shalom. This is part of the hip hop liturgy, Jewish service remixed with bars, beats, integrating the Cypher to your actual service at your synagogue. When we come in, it's all the traditional prayers just remixed with bars and beats, and we bring the Cypher. Here's Oseh Shalom, which features Papa Left and Internal Rhyme and myself and Digital Crates. Shout out to Digital Crates for producing this album, co-producing it with me. And this is his beat, Oseh Shalom. We'll bust this and then we'll play something live for you.
Shalom Biruma, Hallelujah, say Shalom Aleinu, May our God Israel, Amen, Amen, Shalom Biruma, Hallelujah, say Shalom Aleinu, May our God Israel, Amen, Amen, y'all say Shalom. Y'all say shalom, 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 y'all say shalom. Y'all say shalom, I play Capone, actually I'm Maya. Who passing me the lighter? We about to take you higher. You waiting on Messiah, they hit you with the hezzy. Get on your Hezekiah, till heaven is your climate.
The devil wants attention. I dead him off with silence. The violence is cathartic. Remember your assignment. Recorded on papyrus. They cannot ignore it, not even in the slightest. Talking about a blockchain, these tokens came from Titus. Before there was a pilot, we was flying on Osiris. Try it.
Sharp source of fluid force, then fluid force, then tuning chords, a higher type of harmony. When we know we ain't harming, we sharp source of fluid force, then fluid force, then tuning chords, a higher type of harmony. When we know we ain't harming, we say Shalom Peace. Booyah, say Shalom Aleichem. Our God Israel. Hebrew, Amen. Say Shalom Peace. Booyah, say Shalom Aleichem. Our God Israel. Hebrew, Amen. Y'all say Shalom. 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 One day we'll peace out, go fishing with Trump and Hillary Clinton. Eye to eye, fist to fist, no fist bumps, only fist bumps. We need to talk it out. Alphabet text, introduce yourself. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. Hi, H, I.
One day we could just listen to what the artist has written. Smidgens the hardest renditions of where the pain lies. One day we'll embrace differences, cause that type of division feels like it ended, but really it's just a gray sky. And it hardly ever rains on the west side, but I'm rocking with the gang out of best style. Trying to unify, strive to the next time. Gotta get by with a head high and set the example. I know the fight that's a hand is a handful. Just settle down, get around. With my brother MC and we don't mean no ramble. Hip-hop is a sample of the feeling of peace that projects from the core. Let us dismantle the systems that keep us attached to the floor. Ain't back in the war. I throw 2 fingers up to the Shema. Stick to my moral ground. That's how I stay sound without no regrets. I got the best love and I'm spreading it far as it gets. And I tell you to bless up, cause reality hard as a desk. So when I'm starting to fret, gotta let anxiety get away. Cause I know larger the stress, the larger the bet, there's gotta be better days. Oh say
Shalom Bimrama. Booyah, say Shalom Aleichem. Our God Israel. Hebrew, Amen. Say Shalom Bimrama. Booyah, say Shalom Aleichem. Our God Israel. Hebrew, Amen. Y'all say Shalom. Y'all say Shalom.
Shalom.
Y'all say Shalom.
Shalom.
Y'all say Shalom.
Shalom.
Y'all say Shalom. Y'all say Shalom. Y'all say Shalom.
Shalom.
Y'all say Shalom.
Uh-oh. Word up. So that is the 4th track from the Hip Hop Liturgy, Osei Shalom remix. Again, we're remixing the traditional Jewish prayers with beats and bars, rap bars, as well as bringing the cypher for participation. And it's going to be the traditional prayers you're always saying every Friday and Saturday night, except completely hip-hopified with us and some other guys. So we're inviting you to invite us in when you think the time is right, if you really want a special hip-hop service for your community. We're going to end with a couple of live songs from our album. Hamira is a beautiful remix of a song by Rabbi Josh Warshawski. And we remixed it, and it's called Shekhinah Pulls Up. Shekhinah is kind of the presence of God, and when we're praying together or we're in the Sukkah together, we're trying to bring the presence of the holiness. We're trying to make it a holy experience where it brings you good energy for after you leave. It brings you positive vibrations. However you want to say it, you know what it means when the Shekhinah pulls up. So we're going to bust this out with La Hamira. Hamira. Rides on the skyway, highway to heaven. Peaceful's how I feel, feeling free. God, I need a place to escape my mind aches. This rhyme takes me back to the spot where words drop like stars on horizons. Orion rides on the skyway, highway to heaven, boulevard to the boulevard, to the boulevard. Shakina pulls up and she pulls so hard. Shakina pulls up and she pulls so hard. To the boulevard, to the boulevard. Rides on the skyway, highway to heaven, you can hum along. Rise on the skyway, highway to heaven.
Wake up to a new day, smile, way and display. Constantly a question, but I keep my faith. I see a Holy Spirit, evilness in life. I'm like, don't be near it. Slowly period. And don't increase the spirituals. Yeah, and increase the miracles. And pull it right into you. Feel it in the wind too.
Rise on the skyway, highway to heaven. And we all want world peace.
And we all want world peace.
But we all want to feast.
We all want to feast.
So get real with the beast.
Get real with the beast.
Be a wolf or a sheep.
Be a wolf or a sheep.
Once I got too deep,
I can find your seat.
grab the ladder that's forever stepped on this beat.
I'll get to it, then I'll go through it.
Rise on the skyway, highway to heaven.
Forgot the words, so I gotta kick it free. Got the rappers and rabbis with me. Out in the sucker, you know how we do it. To the spiritual music. And we just feeling the movement. We just losing and grooving. Yeah, we're just into it. Got intuition and we steady wishing on the mission. Malnutrition. We're feeding the energy. Plentifully, plentiful. Yeah, many moons will turn and turn. We earn and earn. Spitting these bars until we in earns. Like,
Rise on the skyway, highway to heaven.
Step into the Sukkah, ride through the gangs, telling you right here now, give these things. I'm taking this time, I'm strumming this guitar, and I'm saying these rhymes. Free in my mind, I'm opening my mind, I'm open on to expand and just find where I got a clue next is this rhyme, in this rhyme, in this rhyme. Yo, check it, man, I'm putting the fight in. Tell me right now, it's gonna be shining the light in. And I'm telling you, as I get this fly, I feel the success. This is how it rhyme. So keep it like this, my God. Here we go, rapper in the rabbis.
Rise on the skyway, highway to heaven. Rise on the skyway, highway to heaven. Boulevard to the boulevard, to the boulevard. Shakina pulls up and she pulls so hard. Shakina pulls up and she pulls so hard. To the boulevard, to the boulevard. Rise on the skyway, highway to heaven. Boulevard. All right. Thank you, everybody. That's another example from our hip hop liturgy album that we're about to release. And we're doing live shows for your synagogue when the time is right. We remix traditional Jewish prayers with bars, rap hip hop beats, but also bring the cypher. So there's people So the people who come to the service also participate in an area that they feel confident in. It's a great time. Again, if you want a hip hop Jewish service at your community, holler at us, rappersandRabbis.com. For the last one, we're gonna do of course, we're gonna shake it like an Etrog on a Lulav. I'm gonna ask if you guys can do the dance. Let's figure out which way north is. Do we know? Anybody know off top? I hope it's that way. Let's see. Is there an app for that?
Yeah, there's a compass.
Compass. All right. So on this song, this is a Sukkot song called Lulav Love. And Lulav Love, part of Sukkot is you take your Etrog and your Lulav. And again, I would have a very nice one, but a squirrel came who's just a vandal of these neighborhoods. A vandal. He came in, and I think he's anti-Semitic because he just totally went hard on our Sukkah, ate our Etrog. But I'm going to use the one that my dear son made. And we're going to actually do the mitzvah of shaking the Etrog and Lulav in the directions, which is just the dance of the song. So we'll make it easy out here. This is a nice one that me, Internal Rhyme, Digital Crates put together called Lulav Love. And we're in the Sukkah, and we're going to do it for you now. I hope you enjoyed today. I'll be back Sunday, and I'll be asking different people to from the crew to join me. Sunday we'll be at about 1:30 for another 90 minutes. Here is Lulav Love. We out here in the Sukkah, suckers. See how that looks. Shake it like an Etrog and a Lulav, love, a Lulav, Lulav, love. Shake it like an Etrog and a Lulav, love, a Lulav, Lulav, love. What's going on? Shake it like an Etrog and a Lulav, love, a Lulav, Lulav, love. Shake it to the east, shake it to the shake it to the south, shake it to the south, shake it to the west, shake it to the west, shake it to the north, shake it to the north, shake it up high, shake it up high, shake it down low, shake it down, shake it like an Etrog and a Lulav, Lulav.
Mama step into my Sukkah, touching on my soul, use a real fine looker. This how she shakes, say less I took her. Witness in her face, made her mark like Zucker. She impressed by her tall guy, I'm 5 footer, but she know I use my Lulav right in the night. Beating up a piece outside my cooker, fall asleep to the starlight, perfectly bright. In LA, we get used to the palm trees, but that beauty hit display got me on knees. Being gracious and grateful for one dance, put their hands to the knees, put it on me. Rock with you all year, girl, it isn't apparent. We standing on a tear, a Shemini and Tarek. Can we start it up new like it ain't been top? Say yes, and I'm grooving like a Simcha. Ha ha.
Shake it like an Etrog and a Lulav, love, a Lulav, Lulav, love. Shake it like an Etrog and a Lulav, love, a Lulav, Lulav, love. Shake it like an Etrog and a Lulav, love, a Lulav, Lulav, love. Shake it to the east, shake it to the shake it to the shake it to the south, shake it to the shake it to the shake it to the west, shake it up, shake it up, shake it to the north, shake it to the north, shake it up high, shake it up, shake it down low, break it down, shake it like an Etrog and a Lulav. Hey, Miss Kosher, can I get closer? I'm what's up below the toaster. Drinks on me, Bill folds a coaster. In my Red Rover, calling you over like, girl, you're so anal. Want to hear me rap about Cain and Abel? If you like that, think I'd be able to show Mernagia under the table. Take it like an Etrog and a Lulav, a Lulav, Lulav, love. Shake it like an Etrog and a Lulav, love, a Lulav, Lulav, love. Shake it to the east, shake it to the south, shake it to the
Shake it to the, shake it to the, shake it to the west. Shake it up, shake it up, shake it to the north. Break it down, shake it up high. Shake it up, shake it up, shake it down low. Break it down, shake it like an Etrog and a Lulav. Lulav, love. Shake it like an Etrog and a Lulav.
All right, everybody. Thanks for being here. We'll see you another time. Sukkah MC's out.